Hey there. And friends, today we're diving deep into the heart of philosophy, with 4 transformative lessons that can reshape how you see yourself and the world around you. We're not just talking about self-help slogans or surface-level advice. We're going to explore what it really means to be inspirational instead of endlessly chasing it. We'll talk about how to break free from the weight of guilt, how to practice kindness when it's anything but easy, and how to pursue pleasures that truly fulfill the soul, not just momentary cravings. Sounds intriguing. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself constantly reaching for inspiration, but it always slips through your fingers? Or maybe guilt has taken root in your mind, holding you back from growing or moving forward. And what about kindness? Is it really as simple as being nice, especially in a world that often feels cold and chaotic? And when it comes to pleasure, are we settling for what's shallow when something richer is within reach? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just see these ideas differently. You'll walk away with practical, grounded tools to make them part of your everyday life. This is part of our ongoing self-development series. If you missed the last episode, check the link in the description. These aren't just lessons, they're a living curriculum for a better life. So hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment, and let's grow together. Ready? Let's begin. Lesson 1. Don't be inspired, be inspirational. Your philosophical guide to shining your own light and lifting others up. Let's talk about inspiration. Not the kind that comes from scrolling through Instagram or watching a 5-minute motivational reel. Those can give you a short-term boost. Sure, but we're after something deeper. Something lasting, the kind of inspiration that stirs the soul, fuels your actions, and leaves a real mark on the world. The illusion of inspiration. We live in a culture addicted to inspiration. We follow influencers, attend seminars, read self-help books, all in the hope of finding that spark that will finally light our fire. But here's the truth. Inspiration is fleeting. It drifts in and out like a summer breeze. And when we rely on external sources to feel motivated, we're left chasing something we can never quite hold on to. As Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." True inspiration isn't something you chase, it's something you create. It comes from knowing your purpose, living by your values, and tapping into your own inner fire. The philosophical flip. So what if we flip the script? Instead of searching for inspiration outside ourselves, what if we focused on becoming the inspiration? What if we moved from consuming to creating? From following to leading, from being a spectator to becoming a spark. As Marianne Williamson famously wrote, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So how do we become that light? Embrace your authenticity. Don't try to mold yourself into someone else's image. Own your quirks, your passions, your unique way of seeing the world. That's what makes you valuable. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs the real you. As Cummings said, to be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best, night and day. To make you everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. 2. Share your gifts. You have something to offer, whether it's your art, your voice, your empathy, your skills. Don't hoard it. Share it boldly. And through your work, your presence, your kindness, it matters. Your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God. Lead with courage. Being true to yourself takes guts. Standing up for what you believe in, even more, but that kind of courage is exactly what inspires others to do the same. And Martin Luther King Jr. said it best. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Cultivate compassion. Compassion isn't weakness, it's power. It's the bridge that connects us to each other on a deeply human level. No matter our differences, as the Dalai Lama reminds us, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Live with integrity. Let your values guide your actions. Don't just talk about what matters, live it. Let people feel your character through how you show up. Confucius once said, "The superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions." As real-life inspirations. The teacher who shows up with love, patience, and belief in every student. Guillaume. The artist who pours their soul into their work and dares to be seen. The activist who stands firm for justice even when the world pushes back. These are the people who move us, not because they're trying to be inspiring, but because they live with truth, courage, and love. The bottom line, inspiration isn't something you find, it's something you become. By being real, by sharing what's inside you, by having the courage to stand up and the heart to reach out. Like Maya Angelou said, nothing can dim the light which shines from within. So let that light shine, and in doing so you'll inspire others to do the same. Guilt is worse than jail. Free yourself from the shackles of shame. All right, folks, let's talk about something heavier than iron bars or ball and chain. Guilt. And no, I'm not talking about the oops, I ate the last cookie kind of guilt. I'm talking about the deep, soul-crushing kind. The kind that haunts your nights, stalks your days, and quietly whispers that you're not enough. The guilt trip. Guilt wears many faces. Sometimes it pretends to be your conscience, a moral compass steering you toward better choices. But left unchecked, it mutates. It becomes shame. It becomes torment. It becomes a slow and steady poison that robs you of joy, peace, and self-worth. As one philosopher put it, guilt is the most terrible sickness of the soul. And they were right, because guilt becomes a prison of the mind, where the bars are built from past regrets and the guards are your own inner critics. The prison of the mind. It traps you, locks you into an endless loop of what-ifs and I should have known better. And the worst part, most of the time, it's a prison of your own making. Maya Angelou once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." That untold story, it's often guilt. A mistake you won't forgive yourself for, a secret shame you think no one could ever understand. But here's the truth. Guilt is a choice. We either let it define us, or we decide to free ourselves. The Stoic escape route. The ancient Stoic Seneca, Marcus Aurelius had little patience for guilt. To them, it wasn't helpful. It didn't correct the past or make the future better. It was simply a drag on the present. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. We inflate our guilt. We feed it with memory. And we suffer twice." So how do we break free? We stuck with poison. Acknowledge what you feel. Don't bury guilt. Don't deny it. Let it come up, then let it go. Feel it. But don't become it. Take responsibility. Own your actions. Make amends if needed. Learn the lesson. Then walk forward. Don't wallow in the past. Practice self-compassion. You're human. You're flawed. And that's okay. You don't heal by punishment. You heal by understanding. Stay in the present. You can't undo the past. But you can shape today, and today is where freedom lives. Ask for help. Sometimes guilt is too heavy to carry alone. Talk to a therapist, a mentor, a friend. You don't have to heal in isolation. Real-life examples. the apologizer, always saying sorry, even for small things. Well, and what they really need, self-compassion and permission to be imperfect. The workaholic feels guilty taking a break. What they forget, rest isn't laziness, it's part of being human. The recovering addict, haunted by past mistakes, but with support and forgiveness, they learn your past does not define your worth. The bottom line. Guilt is a weight, but you don't have to carry it forever. Acknowledge it, learn from it, then let it go. Because freedom isn't just the absence of bars, it's the presence of peace. And as Maya Angelou said again, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. So speak it, own it. Forgive yourself, and step forward, unchained. Kindness is always the right response. Your philosophical guide to being a decent human being. All right, folks, let's talk about kindness, not the surface-level kind, like holding a door or saying thank you, but the deeper kind, the kind that radiates from within, that shapes how we see others and ourselves, the kind of kindness that doesn't just feel good, it does good. It bridges gaps, calms storms, and heals wounds we can't always see. The kindness conundrum. Kindness sounds simple, doesn't it? Treat people well, be respectful, lend a hand when you can. But in today's world, where online arguments flare up in seconds, where judgment often shouts louder than understanding, kindness can feel like a radical act. The Dalai Lama once said, "My religion is very simple. My religion is kindness," and yet even he acknowledged how difficult it can be. Kindness takes work. It demands patience. It means choosing compassion when it would be easier to choose anger. The philosophical foundation. This isn't a new idea. The ancient thinkers Confucius, Aristotle, the Stoics, they all spoke of kindness as a fundamental part of living well. Confucius taught, "Do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself." This golden rule echoes across cultures, religions, and centuries. Kindness isn't just a virtue. It's the foundation of human connection, the glue of civilization, the ripple effect. And kindness isn't just good for the world, it's good for you. When we act with genuine kindness, our brains release oxytocin, a hormone tied to trust, connection, and joy. Kindness lifts us. It ripples outward, inspiring others to pay it forward. It changes the energy in a room. In a world that can feel cold or divided, kindness is a quiet but powerful force of transformation. The Kindness Toolkit. Let's break it down. If kindness is a skill, here are a few tools to sharpen it. Practice empathy. Try to see through someone else's eyes. As Brené Brown puts it, empathy is about connecting with the feelings beneath the experience, not just the facts. 2. Listen. Don't just hear. Real listening means putting your ego aside. As Stephen Covey said, most people don't listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Offer help freely. It doesn't have to be big. A kind word, a small favor, a gentle presence. No act of kindness is ever wasted. Forgive quickly. Holding on to anger is like swallowing poison and hoping the other person suffers. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's freedom. Be kind to yourself. It starts from within. Speak to yourself with the same grace you'd give a friend. As Maya Angelou said, "Love yourself first and everything else falls into line." Everyday kindness in action. Let's bring it into real life. The rude customer. Instead of reacting with irritation, the kind salesperson takes a breath and listens with patience. The overwhelmed parent. Instead of lashing out, they pause, breathe, and return with calm and clarity. The internet troll. Instead of feeding the fire, the kind responder chooses silence or replies with dignity and restraint. The bottom line, kindness isn't fluff. It's strength. It's the antidote to division, the medicine for emotional wounds, and the light that cuts through confusion and chaos. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. When we choose kindness not just once, but as a way of life, we become part of something bigger than ourselves. As Rumi put it, let the beauty of what you love be what you do, a higher pleasure. Your philosophical upgrade to a life that's lit with depth, not just dopamine. All right, folks, let's talk about pleasure, not the cheap thrill of a sugar rush or the scroll-happy high of instant gratification. We're going deeper into the realm of higher pleasures, the kind that don't fade the moment you look away, the kind that nourish your soul, sharpen your mind, and connect you to something greater than yourself. The pleasure paradox. We live in a world obsessed with chasing pleasure. We're constantly told to indulge, to treat ourselves, to chase the next buzz. But here's the catch, not all pleasures are created equal. Some leave us feeling emptier than before. They promise joy but deliver a crash. Others slower, subtler, deeper build us up. They leave us feeling enriched, grounded, and more human. John Stuart Mill put it best. It is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a fool satisfied. Christomer's translation. Some pleasures are worth more than others not because they're fancy, but because they feed what's highest in us, our reason, our creativity, our ability to love, grow, and give. The hierarchy of happiness. Mill's distinction between higher and lower pleasures might sound snobbish at first, but it's actually a powerful framework. He believed the most fulfilling pleasures are those that engage the mind, heart, and soul, not just the senses. Eating a great meal, that's a pleasure. But writing a song, it is building something meaningful, or having a soul-level conversation with a friend, that's a higher pleasure. So how do we stop settling for the quick fix and start cultivating a life of real, lasting joy? How to elevate your pleasure game. 1. Expand your horizons. Step beyond the usual. Try something that challenges your habits. Explore new passions. Take up something that stretches your mind. As Alain de Botton once said, anyone who isn't embarrassed of who they were last year probably isn't learning enough. 2. Engage your mind. Read something that shakes your worldview. Watch a documentary that opens your eyes. Seek conversations that make you think. Richard Feynman said, "You must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool." Cultivate creativity. Paint, write, dance, design, build. Whatever your form, create something that expresses who you are. Frida Kahlo wrote, "I paint self-portraits because I am so often alone, because I am the person I know best, who connect deeply with others, not just socializing, real connection, the kind that lifts you, challenges you, and reminds you you're not alone." Aristotle said, "Man is by nature a social animal." Right? Give back, whether it's your time, your skills, your attention, or your resources. Help someone contribute. The best way to find yourself, as the saying goes, is to lose yourself in the service of others. Real-life examples of higher pleasure. The foodie philosopher. They don't just eat to survive. They savor every flavor, appreciate the artistry, and explore cultures through cuisine. For them, food isn't just fuel, it's connection. It's culture and celebration. The art enthusiast. They don't just glance at art, they feel it. They engage with it. They visit galleries, learn the history, and see art as a mirror to the human condition. The lifelong learner. They're not chasing grades, they're chasing growth. Reading, reflecting, taking classes, learning new skills, not because they have to, but because they love to. The bottom line. A higher pleasure isn't about denying yourself simple joys or acting superior. It's about expanding your capacity for joy. It's about trading shallow highs for deeper, richer experiences. It's about living a life of depth, meaning, and wonder. Friedrich Nietzsche said, without music, life would be a mistake. Well, maybe we could also say, without higher pleasures, life is a missed opportunity. So go out there, taste deeply, think bravely, create boldly, love fully. There's a whole universe of higher pleasures waiting for you. Always love and why it's not just for hippies. Let's talk about love, not the sugar-coated, fairy tale version you see in movies or greeting cards, but the kind of love that transforms people, the kind that endures hardship, that forgives, that sees someone's imperfections and stays anyway. We're talking about love as a way of being, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a conscious decision, a daily discipline, the illusion of love. We live in a culture obsessed with the highlight reel of love, the perfect Instagram couple, the dramatic romance arc, the fireworks. But real love, it's not effortless. It demands patience, courage, and often discomfort. As the philosopher Erich Fromm wrote, love is not something natural. It requires discipline, concentration, patience, faith, and the overcoming of narcissism. Love isn't just something you feel, it's something you practice, a philosophical foundation. The Greeks understood this well. They had 4 distinct words for love: eros, romantic passion; philia, deep friendship; storge, familial loyalty; agape, unconditional; selfless love. Each form of love has its own depth and demands, but they all share one thing: a deep connection with another person, built on acceptance, not perfection. Even Plato, with his biting wit, said, love is a serious mental disease. And maybe he was right. Love is messy. It makes us irrational, vulnerable, but it also reveals what matters most. It's not weakness. It's strength in its rawest form, the transformative power of love. Love can rebuild what hate destroys. It can motivate us, center us, and connect us to something bigger than ourselves. As Maya Angelou once said, love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. So how do we live this kind of love? Love without conditions. Unconditional love doesn't mean tolerating abuse or mistreatment. It means caring for others without demanding a payoff. It's loving someone as they are, not as a project or an idea, but as a human. Be fully present. When you're with someone, be with them, not halfway, not distracted. Listen, look them in the eye. Put the phone down, or just presence is love in real time. Forgive, not for them, for you. People mess up. We all do. But carrying resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Forgiveness frees you. Express it often. Don't assume people know you love them. Say it, show it, write it down, give them a hug. As the Beatles sang, all you need is love, but only if you show it. Love yourself too. You can't give what you don't have. Love yourself not out of vanity, but out of recognition that your value doesn't come from your productivity or popularity. Self-love is the soil from which all other love grows. Real-life love. The family that endures together. A family that survives a crisis and comes out stronger because they chose each other through the storm. The couple that stays a relationship tested by hardship, but held together by honesty, forgiveness, and growth. The community that cares, people uniting to lift each other up, whether during disaster or celebration. The Stoic bottom line: love isn't fluff. It's discipline. It's daily. It's rational. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius believed we are all part of the same human family made to care for one another. Love is choosing unity over ego, patience over pride, presence over distraction. As Rumi wrote, love is the bridge between you and everything. So choose love not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Revenge is a dish best not served, letting go of grudges and why it's not worth the heartburn. Let's talk about revenge, not the movie kind with slow-motion explosions and dramatic fight scenes. But the real-life kind, that quiet but burning desire to get even, to prove a point, to make someone feel what they made you feel. But here's the thing. Revenge may feel powerful for a moment, but in the long run, it's exhausting, corrosive, and completely overrated. Lamas, and in the revenge roller coaster, we get it, revenge feels good. That rush of adrenaline, the sense of justice, the power trip. It's like eating an entire tub of ice cream when you're sad, satisfying for 5 minutes, but hollow afterwards. As philosopher Francis Bacon put it, revenge is a kind of wild justice, but it's also self-destructive. Confucius put it even better. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves, because revenge rarely ends with victory. More often, it drags both parties down. Say, the Stoic reality check. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, believe that anger and vengeance are illusions of control. They distract us from our true power, which is mastery over our own minds. Revenge doesn't heal. It binds you to the pain. And worse, it makes you just like the person who wronged you. What's the alternative? Forgiveness. Yeah, it sounds cheesy. But forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional baggage that's quietly eating away at your peace. Archbishop Desmond Tutu said it well. Forgiveness is not just a nice idea. It's how we heal the world. Why forgiveness is the real power move. Emotional freedom. Anger is a cage. Forgiveness unlocks the door. Letting go of resentment frees you from the toxic grip of the past. Mental clarity. Revenge clouds your judgment. Forgiveness clears the fog and helps you focus on what truly matters. Relationship repair, if possible. Forgiveness can open space for understanding, connection, and even reconciliation. Personal growth. Forgiveness takes strength. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing peace over ego. Real-life examples. Workplace betrayal. Your coworker stole your idea instead of revenge. Double down on your work. Let your results speak. Success is the real flex. Breakup drama. Rather than dragging your ex's name through the mud, choose healing. Grow. Evolve. Be the person they can't get back. The insult. Someone disrespected you. Try seeing the hurt behind their actions. Maybe they were projecting. Maybe they were wrong. Either way, your inner peace doesn't have to be collateral damage. The bottom line. Revenge is a tempting path, but it leads nowhere worth going. Forgiveness. On the other hand, clears the road ahead. It doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending everything's okay. It means choosing not to let someone else's harm define your future. As the saying goes, the best revenge is massive success. So focus on becoming wiser, calmer, and stronger. Let your peace be your protest. Let karma handle the rest. Try the opposite, your philosophical hack for shaking things up and finding your groove. All right, folks, let's get into something that could seriously shake up your life in a good way. We're not talking about becoming a contrarian just for the sake of it, or doing something reckless to make a point. We're talking about a strategic, intentional approach to problem solving and personal growth. Doing the opposite. The comfort zone trap. Let's face it, humans are creatures of habit. We like what's familiar, predictable, and safe. We stick to routines and repeat what's worked before. But here's the problem. Comfort zones can quietly turn into cages. They keep us stagnant, uninspired, and resistant to change. As Søren Kierkegaard said, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. That means we can't always predict what works. But we can reflect, learn, and adapt, and sometimes that means doing the exact opposite of what feels safe. Why the opposite works. Trying the opposite breaks the cycle of automatic behavior. It challenges assumptions, disrupts stale thinking, and reveals new insights. As physicist Richard Feynman once said, the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. By doing the opposite, we expose blind spots, uncover limiting beliefs, and invite a fresh, often surprising, perspective. 5 ways to embrace the opposite. The contrarian experiment. When stuck, try doing the opposite of your default reaction, always saying yes. Try saying no, always playing it safe. Take a calculated risk. You might discover new capabilities and courage. Play devil's advocate. Argue against your own beliefs for a moment. See how well your assumptions hold up. This sharpens your thinking and fosters intellectual humility. Seek out difference. Talk to people with different opinions. Read books you disagree with. Listen to voices outside your bubble. Expanding your view sharpens your understanding of the world and of yourself. Spark creativity. Routine kills creativity. Doing the opposite sparks new ideas by interrupting mental autopilot. Try a new route home. Use your non-dominant hand. Switch up your daily rituals. Tiny acts can unlock big insights. Adopt a growth mindset. Embrace the belief that your abilities can grow through effort. The opposite of fear is curiosity. Lean into discomfort, and you'll start seeing it as a catalyst, not a threat. Real-life examples. The introverted explorer. A quiet introvert joins a public speaking club. What begins as awkwardness turns into confidence and new friendships. The risk-averse dreamer. A cautious planner finally takes the leap, quits the 9-to-5, starts a side hustle, or travels solo. They discover courage they didn't know they had. The unyielding negotiator. A stubborn leader chooses empathy over dominance. The result? Stronger connections, better outcomes, and mutual respect. The bottom line, trying the opposite isn't about rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's about choosing growth over comfort, challenging yourself instead of coasting. As Albert Camus said, the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. So rebel against your routines, flip the script, try the opposite, and see what surprising places it leads you to. Adversity reveals you can't fake strength when life gets real. All right, folks, let's talk about adversity not in the abstract, not as a motivational slogan, but as a mirror that doesn't lie. Because here's the truth. You can fake it when things are easy, but not when life gets hard. You can pretend to be patient, kind, or resilient when the weather's calm. But when the storm hits, that's when your true character steps forward. Or doesn't. As the Stoic Epictetus said, circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him to himself. Your values are tested in difficulty. We all like to think we know who we are. We say we value integrity, compassion, courage. But how do we know that's true? We only know when those values are tested. When you're tired, under pressure, or pushed to your edge, how do you respond? That's the real you. It's easy to be generous when you've got plenty. It's easy to be calm when no one's provoking you. But when your back's against the wall, that's when your philosophy either shows up or disappears. And that's not a bad thing. It's an opportunity. Adversity is nature's way of showing you who you've become and where you still need to grow. The gift of struggle. Let's be real. Adversity sucks. It hurts. It's inconvenient, messy, and often unfair. But it's also necessary. Just like a sword needs fire to be forged, the soul needs struggle to be shaped. Muscles grow through tension. Character grows the same way. You don't become braver by avoiding fear. You become braver by facing it again and again until you stop flinching. Marcus Aurelius, writing from the battlefield, reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Adversity isn't in the way. It is the way. Real-life proof. You're the patient parent. It's one thing to say I'm a patient person. It's another thing to stay calm when your toddler's melting down at the grocery store. That's patience tested. Zutter's the honest leader. It's easy to be honest when there's nothing to lose. But what about when telling the truth might cost you your reputation, your job, or your pride? Stadante, the humble winner. How do you act when you're right, and the other person is clearly wrong? Do you gloat or do you stay grounded and kind? The bottom line, you don't build character by avoiding adversity. You reveal your character through it and refine it in the process. So don't resent the tough times. Don't curse the hard days. They are your training ground, your mirror, your opportunity to become who you claim to be. As Seneca wrote, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. The hard stuff, it's where the real work and the real growth happens. Kindness is always the right response. The Stoic path to inner strength and outer harmony. All right, folks, let's talk about kindness not as a weakness, not as a nice extra, but as a core strength, as a principle, as a philosophy. We live in a world that often rewards sharp elbows and quick comebacks. A world that says, if they hit you, hit back harder. But the Stoics and many of the greatest minds across time tell us something very different. Marcus Aurelius wrote, kindness is invincible, not soft, not naive, invincible. Why? Because real kindness, the kind that shows up when it's hardest, is a sign of mastery, of discipline, of deep wisdom. Anyone can lash out when they're hurt. But to respond with patience, to choose compassion over control, that's power. The hardest kindness is the most powerful. It's easy to be kind when people are kind to you, when you're well rested, when life's going your way. But what about when someone insults you, lies about you, cuts you off in traffic, or betrays your trust? That's the real test. And that's where Stoicism comes in, not to suppress emotion, but to elevate your response. It teaches you to pause, to choose, to act from reason, not reflex. As Epictetus put it, it's not things that upset us, but our judgment about things. And often, that judgment keeps us stuck in cycles of resentment and retaliation. But when we break that chain, when we choose kindness instead of vengeance, we free ourselves. Kindness is a strength, not a surrender. That's it. Let's be clear. Kindness doesn't mean being a pushover. It doesn't mean tolerating abuse or avoiding hard truths. Sometimes kindness means setting a boundary with calm, not cruelty. Sometimes it means telling someone the truth they don't want to hear, but doing it with dignity, not domination. It means choosing your values over your impulses, choosing growth over ego. And yes, it's hard, but it's worth it. Because when you meet anger with empathy, when you meet hurt with healing, you not only change the moment, you change yourself. Kindness is a practice. Breathe before you react. When someone triggers you, pause. That breath is your power. It's the space between impulse and intention. Ask what they might be carrying. Hurt people hurt people. What pain might be behind their behavior? Choose the response you'll be proud of. Don't match their level. Rise above it. Not for them, for you. Voices beyond the Stoics. This isn't just Stoic wisdom. Confucius said, repay injury with justice, but kindness with kindness. Aristotle taught that virtue lies in our habits, and kindness is one of the highest. The Dalai Lama, Viktor Frankl, Brené Brown, they all echo this, that kindness, especially in adversity, is an act of courage because it costs something, it requires something, and yet it gives even more. The bottom line. Kindness isn't weakness, it's clarity. It's sovereignty over your own mind. It's strength in its purest form. So the next time you're tempted to snap, to fight fire with fire, remember, the Stoics didn't just preach endurance. They practiced compassion. Be the one who ends the cycle, who brings light instead of more heat. Because when you master kindness, especially when it's hard, you master yourself. Seek higher pleasures. The Stoic guide to joy that lasts. All right, folks, let's talk about pleasure, not the quick hit, not the empty high, but the real thing, the kind that fills you up, not leaves you empty, the kind that lifts your soul instead of draining it. We live in a world of cheap pleasures, scrolling, snacking, shopping, swiping. They give us a burst of dopamine. Sure, but then we crash. We feel guilt, regret, numbness, and so we chase the next hit. But the Stoics and the wisest thinkers across time invite us to look deeper. Epictetus said, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Meaning, if your happiness depends on what happens outside you, on cravings being met, on appetites being indulged, you're a slave, not a free soul. The illusion of more. Think about it. The more we feed our impulses, the hungrier they get. That next episode, that next drink, that next scroll, it never really satisfies. It's like pouring water into a bottomless cup. But when you say no to the shallow stuff, you make space for something higher. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not the quality of your possessions, or pleasures, or popularity. So what are the higher pleasures? They're things like mastering a craft, connecting deeply with others, feeling aligned with your values, growing wiser, more compassionate, more free, serving something bigger than yourself. These aren't flashy. They take effort. But they're rich. They nourish you. Pleasure versus fulfillment. Let's not pretend that Stoicism is anti-pleasure. It's not about denying joy. It's about choosing joy that lasts. The Stoics didn't hate beauty or love or laughter. They just didn't want to be owned by them. They wanted to enjoy them in balance with reason, with virtue, with control. That's the difference between being a master and being mastered. It's the difference between eating for joy and eating to escape, between resting to recharge and escaping through avoidance, between sex that connects and sex that numbs. Train your taste. The philosopher John Stuart Mill once said, it is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Harsh, maybe. But the point is, not all pleasure is created equal. We can train our taste toward the deeper, richer joys, and it's not about being perfect. It's about noticing. What really fills me up, what leaves me empty. What builds my strength. What robs my freedom. When you ask those questions, when you elevate your standards, you rise. The bottom line. The Stoics weren't killjoys. They were realists. They knew that chasing shallow pleasure leads to suffering. But seeking higher pleasures, that leads to peace, to dens, to purpose, to power. So the next time you reach for that quick fix, pause. Ask yourself, is this pleasure lifting me or pulling me under? Choose the pleasure that makes you proud, the one that builds your character, that connects you to something greater. Because in a world full of distractions, seeking higher pleasures isn't just wise, it's revolutionary.